Welcome back to my channel. I'm gonna try to get better about posting videos. So today we're just gonna simply go through my TBR cart and what is on it. This is actually gonna be for Bookmas. I'm not promising videos every day, but I am going to try to pre-film some today as well, and over the next couple days. It may be like an every other day, every third day that I post up until Christmas. Kind of getting a late start on it, but now is better than never. So we're just going to jump right into the TBR cart. So first on the TBR cart, we have some Christmas books. So we're going to start there, and I'm just going to go row by row. I have books on both sides, so just keep that in mind because there is quite a bit here. So we're just going to get into this, and we're going to try to go as quickly as possible because I don't want this video to be super, super long. So the first book is Theirs for the Holidays by Eva Ashwood. I have read Eva Ashwood before, and in fact, right here, these are all Eva Ashwood books. So I'm excited to get into this. It's a Why Choose, which you can't go wrong there. It says, I didn't mean to tell my entire family that I'm dating my ex's 3 older brothers. But to be fair, the lie wasn't even my fault. When my ex asked me if I'd be bringing a +1 to his holiday wedding, to my sister, by the way, don't even get me started about that. I did what any self-respecting woman would do and said, of course. I probably should have been prepared for follow-up questions, but when my ex asked who I'm dating, I drew a complete blank. That's when his 3 gorgeous oldest brothers spoke up at the same time. Now my family thinks I'm dating all 3 of them, and Lennox, Rhett, and Sawyer are staying in my too small house for the holidays. To make things even more complicated, they don't seem to get along at all, and I may have given my V-card to Lennox 6 years ago before he ghosted me after one night. I don't have time for this. My life is chaotic enough as it is, trying to keep my tiny bakery afloat during the Christmas rush. The last thing I need is Sawyer eyeing my curves as if he actually appreciates them, Rhett barging in on me while I'm doing something very naughty in the shower, and Lennox admitting that he hasn't slept with anyone since that night. This is all supposed to be fake, even if the tension between us feels alarmingly real. I already fell for one Sullivan brother and got my heart broken. What would happen if I dare to let myself fall for 3? So that sounds really good. I might see if I can get the audio for it because I believe the audiobook just came out, because I believe this is a pretty new release for this year. So we'll see how I like that one. Next, we have Scrooge for the Holidays by Kayla Gross. Again, another Why Choose. We love them. This one, all the boyfriends are boyfriends too. So what more could you ask for? I'm not going to read the back of all of them because that would just take too long. We'll be here forever. Next, I have a duet. Well, it's not really a duet. 2 books by Kate Stewart, The Plight Before Christmas and The Slight Before Christmas. These have been out for quite some time, and I love Kate Stewart, even though she ruined me with the Raven Hood trilogy. We're not even going to get into that, but we've got those 2 by Kate Stewart. Then we have The Roommate by Rosie Danon. I've had this book since like early 2024, and it has just sat on my shelf. I've heard it's a spicy good time, so why not? We're going to give it a shot, hopefully at some point. Next, we have City of Souls and Sinners by Kayla Edwards. This is a big boy. This is a really big boy. There's like 730 something pages in this. I read the first book, City of Gods and Monsters, early in 2025. I think it was in like January. So it's about time that I get into the second book, especially now that the 4th book is out, because I would love to continue this series. I have the second book in the Legacy series by Melissa K. Rorich. This is Storm of Secrets and Sorrow. Now that this series is complete, I still need to buy the 4th book, by the way, but now that the series is complete, I want to continue. It's been a little bit since I read the first book, but nothing reading a recap won't fix. So I want to get into and continue the series. Next, we have Strong and Wild by Sloane St. James. This is the second book in the Lakes Hockey series. I read the first book way back in 2024 when I first picked up reading again, and I haven't touched any of this series since, and I have all the books in the series. So I really want to get to this. I love me some hockey romance, and I just feel like the cold weather is the perfect time for hockey romance, so we definitely need to get into that one. Then we have Beartown by Frederick Backman. I figured if I need a good cry, this would be the book to go to. And I feel like it's just the perfect season for it because I believe this is based in Alaska. So yeah, if I need a good cry, here we go. Next, we have The Stars Are Dying. I am not going to attempt to pronounce her last name. Her first name is Chloe, but I'm just going to butcher it if I try to pronounce her last name. So this is a trilogy, and the third book was just released. So now that this is complete, I feel like I really need to get into it because I hate starting series that aren't complete, but when they're complete, I can binge them if I feel like it. So I need to get into this one. Last two books on this one are The Book of Azrael by Amber V. Nicole and then Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman. I feel like I am the only person in existence that has not read this book yet. So that's definitely high up on the TBR that I want to get to. And The Book of Azrael, I actually started reading this one earlier this year and I got almost done with it. I got to page 383 and there's only like 496 pages. So I almost finished this book, but it's been a while since I read it, and now the graphic audio is out. I want to restart it with the graphic audio. And also on this shelf behind these books, I have my TBR cup with all of my TBR prompts in there. And then I also have an empty candle jar that I am using to keep all the prompts in here that I've already used. And then this is actually my shelf, like, to push the books back. Yeah, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so the second shelf, we have Flame and Sparrow by S.M. Gaither. This is a duet. I do have the second book. I've had this book since 2024 and I have not read it. So another one that I need to get to. You will see the theme with a lot of these books on here. They are books that I've had for well over a year that need to be read. A lot of these books are going to be from when I first started my reading journey and I bought a bunch of books and I picked and choose which ones I wanted to read. And so I need to get back into reading these. So that's what we're attempting to do. So the next book is Belladonna by Adeline Grace. This, I believe, is YA. But I've heard it's like a gothic story and the love interest is Death himself. So say less. I would like to start this one too. I have The Serpent and Wings of Night. I have I have this book and the second book, and I still have not touched it. I did try to read this at one point, and I got to chapter 2. So I really want to give this another shot. I do have the audiobooks, but I think the audiobook may have been the issue. So I might need to try to read this one without the audiobook and see what happens from there. I have not heard the best things about the second duet in this series. So I don't know if I'm going to pick that one up or not once I finish these. We will see, but I've heard the second duet isn't the greatest. So we'll see what happens. Next, we have Tangled Truths by Allie Beck. This is the second book in her Apocalypse Society series. It's a trilogy, and this is a Why Choose, and it's an academic setting. I believe they are college aged, if I'm not mistaken, and if they're not college, they're like seniors in high school. I can't exactly remember. And I just read the first book not too long ago, but I'm really loving this, and there's like a mystery underneath it all. She's trying to find out what happened to her best friend. It was ruled a suicide, but she knows it was murder, and so now she is trying to figure out what happened. Next, we have Bonds of Hercules. This is the second book in this series. I actually have Blood of Hercules on my December TBR. As a reread because I have read it, but now that the second book is out, I want to do a reread to refresh my memory before I jump into this one. So I'm hoping to get to this pretty soon. Next, we have A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. This is the third book in the ACOTAR series. I had read the first two books either earlier this year or late 2024. I can't remember. I would have to go back on my Goodreads to check to see when I read it. So it's about time that I read the third book because I want to finish this series, especially now that we have confirmation that ACOTAR 6 is coming. So I need to get onto this one. Next, we have another holiday book. This is Blizzards and Bastards by C.M. Stunich. I love C.M. Stunich. I actually have two full series of hers sitting back here on the shelf. I I love her books, and 9 times out of 10 they are why choose, and that's what this one is. And this one is just a short little read. So I think this is gonna, if I get to any of these holiday books, this is definitely one I want to get to because it's so short. So it shouldn't take me too long to read it. Then we have Come For Me Part 2 by CJ Sweet. I read the first book earlier this year. Why I didn't continue it, I don't know. I have the audiobook. The audiobook is great. I don't remember who narrates them, but the narrators are amazing. So I highly recommend if you want to read this series to get the audiobooks to go with them. This is a shifter romance, fated mates, all of that good stuff. So definitely this is definitely one I want to get to because then I can say I've completed this duet. I believe there are more books that are going to be coming out in this series, but this ends these characters' story. Then we have Riftborne by Greenwich and Lennox. I have Duskbound still sitting on my shelf. I also have The Ascended, but I've seen that you need to read Riftborne and Duskbound before you read The Ascended. So this is definitely pretty high on my TBR list. Definitely want to get to it, especially after everything that I've seen and how many people love The Ascended. I definitely want to get to this one. Next, we have All Your Bloody Truths by M.L. Burns. This is the Filthy Duet. I read the first book just a couple weeks ago, and I absolutely loved it. Our female main character is a succubus, and our main male character is a vampire. And yeah, she is out to get revenge on people, and that is all I'm going to say. Check your triggers with this duet, because my jaw was on the floor within the first 3 chapters of the first book, and not much surprises me. So definitely check your triggers. It is dark, 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 dark. We have Beautiful Venom by Rena Kent. This is a hockey romance, a dark college hockey romance. And I'm excited to read this one. I just don't know when I'm going to get to it. It's not super high on my TBR because I definitely have books that I want to get to before this one. But it is on here because I do want to read it relatively soon. Next, we have Bonded by Thorns by Helen Elizabeth. They are actually re-recording these audios in duet. And if you already have bought them and have them on your Audible, it automatically updates to duet. You don't have to go out and repurchase it or anything like that. And I think that is absolutely freaking wonderful. And I'm excited. So now I want to wait until at least the first 2 books are out. The first book has been out. I don't know when the next ones are going to be republished, but I want to wait till at least the first 2 are out before I jump into this series. But this is pretty high on my TBR because I would really love to get to it, and I've heard only good things about it. And this book will also fill some prompts on some of the bingos and different TBR games that I plan on playing this coming year, and this book will fill some of those prompts. So I really hope the next one comes out relatively soon so I can jump into this series. Next, we have Shadow of Storms by Helen Shore. This is the 4th and final book in the Legend of Thesmar series. I have read all the first 3, and I still have to finish this one. I've been putting it off because I really don't want to leave these characters because I absolutely love them. She does have a spin-off series that follows 2 side characters from these books, and I really want to get into it, but I first got to read this one before I can go that far. And then next we have Her Soul to Take by Carly LaRue. This is a demon romance, so say less. I'm excited. We'll get to it eventually. I don't know when that will be. Next, we have In the Likely Event by Rebecca Yarros. The only books I have read by Rebecca Yarros is the Empyrean series, but I do have a couple of her contemporary romance. I've heard this one was good, and then I also have The Last Letter. I'm not ready to bawl my eyes out with that one just yet, and then I heard they're making it into a movie, so I do need to read it because I want to read it before I watch the movie. So we have In the Likely Event by Rebecca Yarros. We have Pretend by Lexi Ackelson. This is part of her Scarred Executioner series. The first 2 books in this series are a duet, and I did read those back in 2024, and I absolutely loved that duet. This follows our main male character, and he was introduced in the first 2 books. So I'm excited to see what his story turns out like, and go from there. And then we have Dear Reader by Tate James. I need to get into this series. I have all 3 books. I have all 3 audiobooks. So I'm excited to eventually jump into this one. Next, we have Does It Hurt by H.G. Carlton. Again, this is another one of those books that I feel like I am probably the only person in existence that has not read it. So I want to get to this one. This is pretty high up on my TBR because I'm trying to get through the books that have been on my TBR the longest, because my goal is whatever books are on my TBR or on my TBR cart that I have not read by by the end of 2026, they've got to go, because I've had some of these books on my TBR since the beginning of 2024 when I started my reading journey again, and it's about high time I either read them or get rid of them, because there's no point in just these books sitting here collecting dust and me not reading them. So that is the plan with some of these books. So Does It Hurt by H.G. Carlton. I've heard great things about it, so I need to get into it. We have Shattered Obsession by Tina Spencer. This is a duet, and the audiobooks were actually just released for these books. So I'm excited to get into this. This is a dark hockey romance. Again, it's hockey, winter, perfect time for it. Exhibit A, The Pucking Wrong Guy by Ciara Jane. This is her Pucking Wrong series. This is the second book, and it follows Ari Lancaster. And I'm excited to read about his story and get a little bit more insight to who Ari is. All right, so the last three books on this side of the cart, we have Kid by Jessie Hall. I read Hawk so long ago, and I absolutely loved Hawk. I tried to read Kid right after I read Hawk, and I think Hawk had put me into such a slump, I just couldn't get into it, because the few books that I read after Hawk that I was able to complete, they just didn't feel like they hit the same as they would have if I wouldn't have been in that little bit of a slump. Hawk was such a good book. I absolutely loved it. So I need to finally get into Kid's story. I've heard there's some pretty dark subject matters in this, and it deals with addiction and things like that. So I'm excited to read Kid's story and kind of see his background and see where he's come from. We have Leather and Lark by Bryn Weaver. I read Butcher and Blackbird a couple months ago and really enjoyed it, so I'm excited to get into Leather and Lark. And then we have Honeybee Hearts by Kendra Moreno. I believe they are honey farmers, I think. And this is also a Why Choose. All right, we are going to turn our card around, and we are going to get into the books on this side. You're probably not going to be able to see them, but I'm going to show you them, so it's okay. We have Stinger by Mia Sheridan. I absolutely know nothing about this book. I believe it's a rockstar romance, but that is like the extent of my knowledge. Offside Hearts by Nikki Lawson, another hockey romance. I swear, probably about 85% of my sports romance books I have are hockey romances. I need to branch out and get some other ones. And then we have Overtime by Maggie Rowden. This is actually a football romance. We have Distorted by Nyla Kay. This is an romance. This is the first book in her Alabaster Penitentiary series. I have the first two books. I want to get the rest, and I believe one other book was just released, and I think there's another one slotted, if I'm not mistaken. So I would love to get into this series. Under Your Scars by Ariel Anderson, another one that I need to be ready to cry. From what I've heard, especially at the ending. And then I also have the little novella. And then we have For the Fans by Nyla Kay, another romance. Another one that I feel like I'm probably the last person in the world to read it. I feel like everybody has read this book. Don't You Dare by C.E. Ricky. I believe this is Friends to Lovers, and again, this is We have Kiss the Villain, which this is Gareth's story, and I'm so excited to read his story, and again, this is Empire of Flame and Thorns by Marion Blackwood. I know this deals with dragons, but I don't know if it's dragon shifters or dragon riders. Somebody comment down below and let me know, because I'm not 100% sure. Savage Lands by Stacey Marie Brown. This, I believe, is post-apocalyptic. I want to say it's either dystopian or urban. I can't remember. But I'm excited. And I believe these actually just recently got picked up trad. So I'm kicking myself for not ordering the full series. I have like the first 4 or 5 books. I'm kicking myself for not ordering the full series because the rest of them are not available anymore in the indie published. So I'm kind of sad about that because I wanted a matching set and I don't want to have to go out and buy the full set again, but we may have to. I have Graves by Caitlin Taylor. This is Why Choose with Twins. Yes, please. And then we have Psychotic Obsession by Lee Rivers. The Edge of Darkness trilogy was one of my all-time favorite trilogies that I read. I believe I read them in 2024, towards like the end of 2024. I have the indie published books, and those are like my prized possessions. Those will not be going anywhere. So I do need to read The Edge of Darkness because I want to read about Tobias. Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. I'm just not sure if I'm ready to start my Boys of Tommen journey yet. I have Binding 13, Keeping 13, Saving 6, and Releasing 10. I was trying to get all the ombre spines, and you can no longer find them. So I fear the rest of the ones I get are going to have the black spines, but it's not the end of the world. All right, the last 4 books on my TBR cart. We have Coach Sully by Sloane St. James. I believe this is accidental pregnancy, and there is an age gap. Then we have Wild Side by Elsie Silver. This is the 3rd book in her Rose Hill series. Now that the series is complete, I do want to finish it. Powerless by Elsie Silver, the 3rd book in her Chestnut Spring series. Don't ask me why I haven't finished this series yet. I've had this series for quite a bit of time, and I haven't touched it. So I read the first 2 books within like the first week that I had bought them, and then I never went back. So I think it's about time that I meet Jasper. And then we have Mine by A.K. Rose. This series, it's the Blood Tie series. There are a lot of books in this series, but they go in trilogies. I believe they're all white shoes, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm ready to get into this one. I've had these books for quite some time too, and it's about time that I read them. All right, so that is everything on my TBR cart. These are the books that I really, really want to get to at the end of 2025 and early 2026. We will probably refresh this come February, March timeframe and see where we're at and what we've read out of these books and kind of go from there. And when I do that, I will record so we can kind of go through what I've read, what's still sitting here unread, what I want to get to, and maybe what I've decided that I want to unhaul. So that is everything for me today. Again, this is going to be my first video for Bookmas. I'm going to try to post every other day or every 3 days up until Christmas. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you have any video recommendations or videos that you would like to see me do, go ahead and leave them in a comment down below. Otherwise, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.